Good break. Me, your man, Louie Tee. Welcome to the after party, day 2 of the 2024 NFL Draft. Cheers to another day in the books for the Washington Commanders in the 2024 NFL Draft. So, what are your initial thoughts on what was done? I'm going to give you mine. Talk about what my thought process was at every pick in case you weren't over on Bleacher Report with me, and kind of talk about what I feel like is going on and what they're doing. And I can tell you right now, I don't agree with every single pick necessarily. I won't say agree. I don't love every single pick, but I love what they're doing. I absolutely love what they're doing. So let's start here. Let's start with this, right? Earlier today, I had a video talking about Jaden Daniels and the selection in the first round and what to expect for day number 2, if you recall. And in that video, someone asked me what would be an ideal day 2. And I think I said 3 or 4 things. First thing was come away with a fringe first round player, right? And I gave you the 2 options, Cooper DeJean, Johnny Newton. I said one of those 2, and I feel great. I feel spectacular. You come away with both of them, and I'm doing cartwheels. They had a shot. They didn't love Cooper DeJean. Okay. They valued moving back and picking up an additional second over, which I thought they would use. And so I'll give you my thought process in a bit. Let me just continue on with my point. So the first thing that I wanted to see them do was get a fringe first round pick. They did that. The next thing that I wanted to see them do was I wanted to see them trade back at some point with one of their picks at either 40 or 78. They did that. So check and check. The next thing that I wanted to see them do was come away with a starting caliber tackle. And that's the one that they did not complete for me in day number 2. Okay. But if that's the only thing that they didn't get done, and it's a big thing, okay. I don't want to bury the lead. Like, that's a big effing deal. And one of the things somebody said is, man, I'm going to be upset if they don't get a tackle. I'm like, well, you don't worry about it. They're going to get a tackle. What are you talking about? I don't think they got a tackle. Okay. So while on one hand, and I still think that they have a plan, right? There's a master plan in here somewhere. And maybe there isn't a master plan. And this is what I love. You can't say out of one side of your mouth, you want them to take the best player available. You want them to stockpile this team with talent. And then out of the other side of your mouth say, but you have to draft need. You can't have it both ways. You can mesh the 2 together, right? And go after a best player available that happens to meet a need. But what happens when best player available doesn't necessarily meet the need that you deem to be the most significant? I always err on the side of, when you're in the position that we're in, take the best player available. We'll figure out the rest later. Okay. Now, when Adam Peters sat down in Orlando and looked all those beat reporters in the eye and said, "Oh, we're fine at tackle." I said, "Adam, you're a hoot. Oh, we're fine at tackle." Adam made a funny. We're fine at tackle. Yeah. He said, "Yeah, we got," and he was dead ass. He said, "Yeah, we got Cornelius Lucas." And then forgot the kid from Pittsburgh that played a little bit last year. He said, "Yeah, we got some stuff. You know, we're not hurting at tackle." And I'm like, "Adam, man, stop playing, man. Yeah, we good at tackle." I think he was serious. I think this man actually thinks that we're good at tackle. And you know what's scary is there's still people out there saying, "Hey, we're going to start Andrew Wiley at right tackle." I'm like, stop playing with me, man. We're not starting Andrew Wiley at tackle, bro. Stop it. Are you sure? Are you sure? Where's your proof that we're not starting Andrew Wiley at right tackle? Because you, technically speaking, you don't have a left or a right tackle that you feel 100% confident in their ability to get the job done yet. So as we continue on through the day, so let's go through the picks quickly, and then I'll give you my thought process, and then we'll go through, you know, how I feel overall about the day. So let's go through the picks, and I'm going to talk about how I felt as each pick was being made. So we're going to start off talking about their first pick in the second round. And I was a little nervous, right? When the Falcons jumped in front of us, I said, oh my God, we were this close. Because you guys, you remember what I always tell you. It's all about optionality, right? The key is I need a guy to be on the board so I know whether they like that guy or not. I don't have to guess. The option was there, and you chose not to select that player. Okay, I get it. You didn't want him, and I can live with that. What sucks is when you get that close, and then the player gets selected, and you never get to find out if they would have taken that guy or not. That bothers me, okay? So here we are. I'm nervous as hell because Buffalo didn't take Adonai Mitchell, which was a surprise, right? Pretty shocking, actually. And a lot of you told me that Keon Coleman was better than I was giving him credit for, and I was tripping. And you turned out to be right. We'll see if he turns out to be a good football player or not. I'm not saying that he wasn't going to be. I just didn't like him as high as he went. But a lot of people seem to think Keon Coleman was going to be a stud. And a lot of you agreed. I didn't. And we'll see who's right with that situation. But they take Keon Coleman. So I'm like, interesting. So Adonai Mitchell could be available, right? Then the next team on the clock, I forget who it was. They took I want to say they took a defensive tackle, I think. Matter of fact, let me look and see who that team took in the second round. And then I just know that the so Lat McConkey went to the Chargers. The Chargers traded up to number 2 overall. So I was thinking, maybe they're coming up for Adonai Mitchell because the Bills passed on him. Cool. Well, they take a receiver. It doesn't bother me. We weren't taking a receiver anyway in my mind. But I'm like, hell, Adonai Mitchell's here now. Maybe they take Adonai Mitchell. And then the Falcons come up, and I'm like, what are you doing here, guy? You know, everything's falling perfectly for me. I don't know what Arizona's going to do, but they're probably not taking defensive tackle. They're probably not taking corner. So what are you doing, dude? And they came up and took a defensive tackle, and I almost shit myself. And then when I saw who it was, Rook or Ro, I'm like, what are you doing, Atlanta? But you know what? Atlanta they're a blessing in disguise. For the last 3 years, the Atlanta Falcons have bailed us out. Two drafts ago, they took Drake London when we wanted no parts of him, and we were going to take him. Ronald Rivera had already said if he was there, they were going to take him. The next year, we didn't want the Eagles to end up with, we didn't want them to end up with Bijan Robinson. The Falcons said, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. This year, we're sitting there. We don't know what Arizona's going to do. And the Falcons trade up, and they say, don't worry about it. We're going to take Rook or Ro. And I'm sitting there like, oh, my God. Not only is Adonai Mitchell still available, which I'm not a big Adonai Mitchell fan anyway, so I wasn't tripping about that. But Johnny Newton's still available. And Cooper DeJean was still available. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, we got the pick of the litter. This is our opportunity to come away with a fringe first-round pick guy. The thing that I said I wanted to see us do, right? And I said, and this was a test for Adam Peters, his first test. I said, all right, Adam, Lance Newmark, you on the clock. This is your first test. Show me what you're about. Are you about that action? Are you about that life? Or you just all air? You just all talk? Because you told me, hey, we getting good football players over here. And we'll consider need, but Above all else, get good football players. Well, if that's true, yeah, we don't need defensive tackle, but Johnny Newton and Cooper DeJean are the 2 best players on the board. Take one of them. Make a statement. They said, you damn right we finna make a statement. They took Johnny Newton. I said, oh, shit. We got ourselves one. We got us a real GM over here, right? They didn't lie to us. We getting football players over here. Dog, we got a straight dog. We got us a dog. So I'm excited, right? So then we get to 40. Cooper DeJean is still available. So is Adonai Mitchell. And I'm thinking to myself, well, damn, we might be able to kill 2 positions just like that. We got a chance to take Cooper DeJean, and I wanted him. But we trade back. And I said earlier, I want to trade back either with 40 or with 78. I didn't know that we would literally do both, right? We traded back from 40 to 50 and picked up 53, and then in the process gave the Eagles 78. So that was off the table. Didn't know that both of those picks would end up, you know, kind of transforming the way the draft went for us. But voila, look at that. My whole goal was to just get a 4th round pick. Now we got an extra 2nd round pick. Adam, Chef P, you slide devil, you. Is that the flame over there I see? Are you over there on the damn skillet over there? I see the flame. Chef P's cooking up. Man, this is exciting. He's got the 2 little those whatchamacallits that you got on that surface when you chopping it up, flipping it. You got the eggs and stuff over here. You separate it. You got the meat and the shrimp right here. And then you got the rice and you flip it over and you're mashing it. And I'm like, man, he's going to work. I'm just watching him. So you trade back with the Eagles. Of course, they come up and get Cooper DeJean. It is what it is. I hate helping out a family member who I can't stand. But that's life, right? We did it because it was beneficial for us. They did it because it was beneficial for them, right? So now you got 2 second round. Again, the same thing I said before. I can bitch and complain about not having a 4th, but I'd much rather have 3/3 than 2/3 and a 4th. I might not love having to give up 78, but I'd much rather have 3 2s than 2 2s and 3 3s, right? I'd rather have 3 2s and 2 3s. So, and in this trade back, I'm like, oh my God, you hit an inside straight. Now you're in the market for where the tackle position is going to have value again. As you saw, not a single tackle came off the board between the start of the 2nd round and when Washington selected at 50, right? Not a single tackle. And we got to 53 and there still hadn't been a tackle. Let me double check that, but I'm pretty sure because I remember saying that. No tackles, no tackles, no tackles. And then 50, Washington gets on the board here. No tackles. We had a center come off the board in Zach Frazier, but he was after us at 50. So we take Mikey Sandwichster. We're going to get to that pick in a second. But I was thinking, man, we're right in that zone, right? So I'm thinking, he did it again. He done went right back into that zone, man. Like, get me in my zone, bro. You killing it right now because now it makes sense to take a tackle, right? Now the Patrick Pauls and the Blake Fishers and the Kingsley Suamataia, they're starting to come into focus. Maybe it's a little early for Kingsley Suamataia, but those guys, they're starting to come into focus, all of them, right? So you take Mikey Sandwichster, and I was like, oh, man, that is so clutch. Y'all know how I felt about Mikey. I didn't think we were going to take him, right? Because they had talked about how they like Quan Martin, this, that, and the third. And so I fell for the trap. But y'all know how I felt about Mikey. So when we got Mikey, I was like, oh, shit. We 2 for 2. We 2 for 2 today with a trade back. Oh, Elizabeth, I think this is a big one. Oh, hey, Chef P finna kill me. High cholesterol. He about to kill me. This shit good as a bitch. He clogging up my arteries. Hey, Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you. I said, oh, he finna kill this draft. I said I wanted him to murder it. Closed casket. He's about to kill it. So I look at Mikey and I said, Mikey, come here, man. You family now. And we got another pick in 3 picks from now. We're going to get a tackle. This is great. We get to 53. Still no tackles have been taken. Everybody that was there when the draft started in day 2, still there. They go tight end. They went Ben Sinnott. I'm not mad at that. As a matter of fact, Ben Sinnott blocks, and I told y'all he's my 4th highest rated tackle or tight end in the draft, right? We went through this already. Okay. Number 1 was Brock Bowers. Number 2 was Jatavion Sanders. Number 3 was Cade Stover. And number 4 was Ben Sinnott. Now, Sinnott, athletically, better than all of those guys except for Brock Bowers. All right. Athletically, he's better than all of those dudes. Okay. Stover ran faster, but we all know Cade Stover's not really faster than Ben Sinnott. Ben Sinnott gives you more wiggle and yards after the catch. I watched him against Missouri. He had a catch where he jumped over a dude, right? I looked at him. I said, we just drafted Chris Cooley all over again. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, damn, it feels good. Doesn't it feel good to pay less? So I'm vibing right now. I'm like, okay, I don't know if I would have done that, but I love Ben Sinnott, and you just gave your young quarterback another option to get the football to. This is really good, right? This is really good. So I said, man, I am loving this. And, you know, I wasn't the biggest Cade Stover fan. So to be honest with you, I would have taken Sinnott over Cade Stover any day of the week. But I think Cade Stover is a better blocker than Sinnott. I do think that. But Sinnott, I think, has better hands than Cade Stover. And he's better with the ball in his hands. And I think as a move blocker, I love Ben Sinnott. You move him, you put him at fullback, you put him at H-back, you bring him across the formation, he's going to smash into somebody. He's going to tear somebody's ass up, pause. So I'm loving this pick, right? So and we moseying right along, but I'm like, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, hey, I know I don't have to say this because I trust you. But don't forget about tackle now. But what did I tell y'all earlier today? What did I tell you? Now, let me say this. When I made this statement, we hadn't traded back. I didn't know we were going to trade back. I wanted to trade back, but I didn't know we were going to trade back. I told you that the value at tackle wasn't there at 36 or 40. So I said at 67, you got to press the button. You got to press the tackle button. At 67, no ifs, no ands, no buts about it. You got to press the button. We traded back. Now you can press the button a little sooner. Right? Well, they decided, hey, we traded back and there's better value here. So we don't need to press it. We can still press the button at 67. I said, okay, I'm cool. I'm not tripping. Because what did I tell you already? No tackles had been taken between the start of the second round and where we've taken both of these players. No tackles. Wouldn't you know it? Soon as we make that pick, damn tackles start flying. It started out with Patrick Paul. Then it was Blake Fisher. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little nervous, but I'm still cool, right? Because we brought a bunch of dudes in for visits. So, man, we could have used Blake Fisher. It was whatever. Patrick Paul, I won't even all that high on Patrick Paul for real. I ain't even tripping. Kingsley Suamataia is still out there, so I ain't even tripping for real. Okay, he's gone now. Okay, all right. So I'm getting a little nervous now. But I know that, we brought in Kieran Megadeji. Don't like him. He's a raw project. I don't want any parts of it, but I know we brought him in. Caden Wallace is still out there, and I like him enough that I would have been willing to sell. So I'm like, it's some stuff here, man. I'm not even tripping, right? You get to 67, and one of the late additions to the official 30 visit is now, selected. Brandon Coleman. And this is the first one where I go, Brandon Coleman, the guard from Illinois? Or TCU, excuse me, the guard from TCU? Huh? And they try to convince, hey man, dude played every position on the offensive line except center. I'm like, cool. I ain't gonna get upset, but I might kick a hole in the speaker and then jet if you try and tell me that this is the dude we supposed to be starting at tackle. Because he ain't no damn tackle. He a guard. I already watched him. He's a guard. So I'm like kind of interested to see what their explanation is for this. Because not only is he a guard, but I'm like, is this even good value? I'm not sure that you had to do this at 67. But I said, you know what? I want to see what they say. And again, I trust blindly in Adam Peters. All right. I trust blindly in this man. So I said, get good football players. Brandon Coleman might be a Pro Bowl guard for all I know. It ain't tackle, but last year we made one of the fatal mistakes of last year's offseason was thinking that the free agent acquisitions were good enough, right? So they signed Nick Gates and they signed Andrew Wiley in free agency. And as fans, okay, took care of that, took care of center, took care of tackle, don't need it, right? We're good. Some of y'all weren't comfortable, but most of us were. Okay, they put a Band-Aid solution on tackle. You spend $21 million on a tackle, you're going to get $21 million worth of an investment. And that's what we got out of Andrew Wiley, $21 million, right? $7 million per. We got what we paid for, okay? I always tell y'all, there's certain things that you can cut a corner on or be a little cheap on, right? Toilet paper ain't one of them. Paper towels ain't one of them. And dish liquid ain't one of them, right? Don't bring me no cheap-ass dish liquid and think you're going to get clean dishes, okay? That shit don't even set up. We cut corners and we tried to be cheap with toilet paper, paper towels, and dish liquid. And we got what we paid for. So this year, you sign the Chiefs guard, Nick Allegretti, and he's hungry. He wants an opportunity. That's all fine and dandy. But we don't know if Nick Allegretti can play guard and start consistently in this league. We know he's a great pinch hitter. Somebody goes down, he's got to step in. We know he can do that. But do we really know Nick Allegretti is a competent NFL starting guard? No, we don't. So you know what they said? Brandon Coleman might be the answer. What did they say when they got here? Competition, competition, competition. All right, I'm cool with it. I'm down. But I just go back to, hey, so what did you say we were doing at tackle again? And he said, I did it. But I already told you we were straight at tackle. You thought I was playing? Oh, I did think you was playing though. Oh, you were serious. Oh. You were serious? He's like, yeah, we good at tackle, man. I'm like, look me in my eyes and tell me we straight at tackle. He's like, we straight at tackle. I'm like, hey, this man tripping. you tripping. So I you know what started to creep into my brain? You know what started to creep into my brain? I said, man, Sam Cosmi looking like a tackle all of a sudden again, man. Because even if Nick Allegretti is your starting left guard, Brandon Coleman might be your new starting right guard. And now you're moving, Sam Cosmi back to right tackle and Cornelius Lucas is your left tackle. And that's how we rolling this year. That's a realistic possibility, folks. Like, I'm not saying that's what they're going to do, but the more they move and the less attention they pay to tackle, the more I'm starting to think y'all got an in-house option that you ain't telling us about. Because when you told me about tackle, You talked about Cole. You talked about the dude from Pittsburgh that was here last year. And you didn't say anything else about anybody else. You didn't mention Andrew Wiley, which was a good thing. Okay, don't bring his ass up because he's not in this equation at all. But you didn't bring up Sam Cosmi either. Drafting Brandon Coleman makes me feel like you drafted another guy that can play guard because Sam Cosmi's about to be playing tackle. I could be wrong about that, but that's how I felt in the moment when that selection was made. I felt like, are you trying to tell me something? Because that was your opportunity. That was your last opportunity because after that, you had 100. You ain't getting nothing at tackle at that point. Even the Delmar Glazes of the world were gone by the time you got to it. Like, even Kieran Omegadeji was gone, and I didn't want him anyway. That depth at tackle that we talked, that shit is gone. You might get a dude later on. Even Matt Goncalves has been taken from Pitt. Another dude we brought in for a top 30 visit. All of them gone. So unless there's some secret weapon you got in your back pocket, a guy nobody knows about, that Caden Wallace, gone. All of these dudes, gone. That was your chance. I told you, you had to press the button at 67. You took a guard. I feel like Jay Gruden. They took a guard. Okay. So now you're making me feel, and again, this is just me. My brain is wandering. I don't know if that's what they're going to do or not. They could tell me. I'm dying to see what he has to say. I'm dying to see because somebody's going to ask him about the decision to draft Brandon Coleman and what do you see him as? And he's going to probably say, oh, he's got versatility. He can play 4 out of the 5 spots on offense line. And that's cool. What you doing at tackle, though, bro? That's what I want to know. But he already said, bro, we already talked about this. Didn't you ask me about tackle earlier? I told you we were straight at tackle. And now I'm feeling like stomp the yard. There you go, pretending again. See, I thought you was pretending, right? There you go. Like, you got me. So now I'm sitting there at 100, and I don't know what the hell we're going to do. But I said edge rusher or receiver. Those were the 2 positions that stuck out like a sore thumb. Because clearly, you ain't doing nothing else at tackle because it ain't no value at tackle at 100 now. All of them are gone. There's no value here. So it can't be tackle. So now it's either you took a corner already, so it's either wide receiver or edge rusher. And I was looking for Austin Booker because I don't think he's going to be there in the 5th round. And I think he's going to go in the 4th round. So I'm probably not going to get my guy, which is fine. It is what it is. So we get to 100, and it's a bunch of receivers on the board that I thought, if they're going to go the receiver route, that would be intriguing. You know, we talked about wanting a big receiver, Javon Baker, sitting there out of UCF. We talked about Malik Washington out of UVA, small, diminutive receiver, but plays tough, high volume guy. There's some options still left, and it's still a lot of options left, right? It's a deep draft at receiver. Even tomorrow, it's going to be some guys still left. I was, was on the Bleacher Report stream, the guys were joking around. They talked about Brendan Rice. I said, hey, don't do that to me. We're not doing no Brendan Rices around here, right? All right, so get out of here. Then somebody said, what about Frank Gore's son, right? I was like, nah. First of all, we looking for some speed if we're gonna do running back. He doesn't fit the bill. So nah, leave me alone with the lineage dudes. And then as they said that, Luke McCaffrey popped in my head. I didn't say it, but I was about to, right as it was on the tip of my tongue, pick comes in, Luke McCaffrey, selected by the Washington Commanders to end the second day of the 2024 NFL draft. And I go, Luke McCaffrey at 100. And I started thinking, this is strictly off of his experience at San Francisco with Christian. I'm pretty sure he knows Luke because of Christian. They think fondly of Christian, and they know that the bloodlines are strong. And when you watch the tape, it's a tough kid, man. To me, he's a poor man's Ricky Pearsall, right? Does all the dirty work, run over the middle, make tough catches like his daddy used to do back in the day as a Denver Bronco. Can extend away from his frame like Ricky Pearsall can take a hit like Ricky Pearsall can. Ricky's a little bit faster, but neither one of them are dynamic in the speed department. Even though Ricky ran a 4.41, you don't really see it show up on tape with Ricky. And McCaffrey ran like a 4.46, I believe. So, you know, like I said, he's a poor man's, a great value Ricky Pearsall. Wasn't expecting it, but I'm not mad at it. Throw him in the mix, add him, and see what he brings to the table. Think he's a good fit. And so you look at the haul from today, and I say this is a job well done. If not for the question mark surrounding Brandon Coleman, whether he's a tackle or a guard, and again, I tried to wait on Chef P to tell me what this particular meal that Brandon Coleman was. I was waiting for him to tell me what was the inspiration behind this meal known as Brandon Coleman. Like, you know, I see you on the hibachi grill just going to work. You know what I'm saying? Separating shit and flipping the rice over and mixing in the eggs and, you know, cracking. I mean, it's just getting it in. And then I see some veggies over here, and you ain't touched those. That's the tackle position. And you're like, oh, but I did, though. You sure? I need an explanation. How this fit in here? You got these veggies all the way over here. You didn't even mix it into the rest of the stuff over here. How they fit into this equation? Guard, tackle? We're going to find out. Whether he says he's a tackle or not, I see guard. That's just my opinion. But I'm trusting the process, and I'm trusting those guys. And if they say he's a tackle, well, by golly, he's a tackle. We're going to find out. So Luke McCaffrey, to finish up day number 2, got no issues with it. I don't love it. I would have much rather Javon Baker. I don't hate it, though. I don't hate it. And he's a good football player. And, you know, lineage matters. Whether you want to admit it or not, lineage matters. People care about that stuff. Who your daddy is, who your brother is. If it's in the bloodlines, that shit matters. Luke McCaffrey, he been playing football since he was probably 1.5. Probably had a football in his hand before he could speak. So I feel good about him. I know what I can tell you right now, even Brandon Coleman, I can tell you this about every single player that we've selected, starting with Jaden yesterday, down to Luke McCaffrey at the end of today. Every single one of these dudes is football players. Not a single one do I look and I go, I ain't sure about him. Now, we knew they were going to take a receiver. There was no top 30 visit for any receivers, but we knew they were going to take one. Ben Sinnott, I don't think, if memory serves me correct, he wasn't on the top 30 visit list. So I told you we're going to be keeping a running tally of how many of these dudes actually was on the list. Jaden was on the list, and Brandon Coleman was on the list. 2 out of the 6 dudes that were taken so far were on the list. Johnny Newton wasn't on the list. Mike Sanvestrell wasn't on the list. Ben Sinnott wasn't on the list, and Luke McCaffrey wasn't on the list. So, man, I literally think we got 3 blue chip players and a red chip in the first 2 days of the draft. When the last time we had 3 blue chip players? Like, Jaden Daniels is a blue chip player. That's what we hope he evolves into. But I project him as a blue chip player. Johnny Newton, to me, was the second best defensive tackle in this draft behind Byron Murphy the second. We get this man in the second round. That was a steal, bro. An absolute steal, brother. Mike Sandristrell is the best nickel corner in the draft. B-E-S-T, all caps, best. You know how I feel about getting the 7th best at one position over the absolute best at another. You know how I feel about that. You want the 7th best tackle, or at that point, the 15th best tackle, or you want the best nickel in the draft. I think I'll take the best nickel corner, thank you very much, which is also a position of need for this football team. Not many positions that we don't have a need at. Ben Sinnott, depending on who you talk to. Again, Jatavion Sanders. The league has spoken. Nobody took his ass. Okay? The league said that 4.69 coupled with your inability to block, non-starter. Not happening. Teams took Tip Ryman. Let me repeat myself. A team took Tip Ryman before Jatavion Sanders was selected. So that tells you all you need to know about Jatavion Sanders. And look, I think he plays faster than 4.69, but the blocking, the inability to block might have been a non-starter for a lot of teams, including Washington. Because when you come from San Francisco and you see the best blocking tight end in the league in George Kittle and what he's capable of doing and what he does for your run game, and then you look at Jatavion Sanders and that's Jordan Reed, guys. And he's not even the athlete that Jordan Reed was. Jordan Reed was a ridiculous athlete. So you were willing to trade no blocking for elite athleticism. Jordan Reed was a 4'5", 40 guy and a basketball player in a tight end body. Okay. He's crossing dudes up. They can't check him in the slot. He's open all the time because he's uncovering. He was uncheckable. You're willing to trade that off for the inability. You knew if you tried to run the ball, his man was going to get in the backfield and blow the shit up. You already knew that. And you were going to look at Jordan, and Jordan was going to give you one of these like, I tried, man. I'm sorry, bro. Or he would hit himself in the helmet. You already knew what that meant. He just missed his assignment. I didn't even got to see the replay. I know where the dude came from. But you were willing to trade it because Jordan was going to make a crazy one-hand grab. Or Jordan was going to get him that shit, cross him over, be wide open over the middle of the field, and run for 27 yards. Remember that game he had in the playoffs against the Packers? That one-hand catch he had, scored a touchdown? Like, you couldn't check him. So you were willing to take that trade-off. Jatavion Sanders ain't doing that shit. He ain't breaking nobody off. And he ran a 4.69. So you slow? You're not really separating from a standpoint of running routes. He ran the open space. And I'm not shitting on him because we didn't take him. Because if we would have taken him, I would have been happy. And I still think he's got a chance to be a really good player in this league. But you got to understand what you're drafting. So I get it. And again, the whole entire league spoke. So it tells you all you need to know. We came away with 3 blue chippers in Daniels, Newton, and Sandristrell. And I think a red chip in Ben Sinnott. That's Chris Cooley right there. Look, guys, I don't know what you were expecting. I too was expecting like a real tackle. You see the graphic, it says guard. Because when I watched him, I saw guard. I know he played tackle too. But I saw guard movement, and I saw a guy that looked better and more comfortable at guard. But again, we'll let them decide what Brandon Coleman is or isn't. Bottom line is, this is a damn good haul so far. I'm not expecting much tomorrow. All right. You traded back with the Eagles. So, you know, one of your 5th round picks is a little bit further back now. So I'm not super, you know, thrilled about not having a 4th round pick. You know, that was the whole part about trading back was to gain a 4th round pick, but I trade getting a 4th rounder for the second rounder that we got, or the third rounder. or second rounder, excuse me. I'll take 3 seconds over a 4th, right? Any day. So that 3rd, second, much better and more valuable than a 4th round pick. I just hate sitting out of a whole round, you know? So we'll see what they do tomorrow. I don't think we have a 7th round pick, which, I am not tripping about that because I don't give a shit about 7th round picks. Y'all know that. Like, I know you can find Cam Curl in the 7th round. It's rare. You're more likely to find Shaka Toney in the 7th round. Yeah, we still got the 7th round pick. So that's there too. We'll see what they do. We got 3 picks tomorrow. But this was the day that we needed to nail. And we nailed it. The only thing that stops this from being an absolute no-doubter, like the outfielder don't even move. Because that shit is crushed. I don't even need to move a muscle. The only thing stopped is that Brandon Coleman looks real guardish to me. And we didn't come away with a legit, no doubt about it, bona fide starting tackle. So that outfielder is running back towards the wall. He's on the warning track. He's going to leap up and try to bring the ball back. I don't think he's going to get it, but tomorrow will be the determining factor as to whether that ball's brought back, and it's a long, long out, and you only got warning track power, essentially, or if that thing sneaks over the fence and we just hit a home run. It's been a long time since we hit a home run in the draft. We've been told we've hit a home run, once or twice here in the last 5 or 6 years. We've been told we hit a home run. This shit feels like a home run. For real. We'll see. We'll see. All right. So let's get to the comment section. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling damn good about what was done today, man. The Johnny Newton, Mikey Sandrill, and Ben Sinnott picks. I wasn't done because we still needed a tackle, but if they'd have stopped there, if you'd have told me we didn't have another pick in the rest of the day, I would have told you, shit, we killed it, bro. We murdered it. So I'm feeling really good about what they were able to accomplish, and we still got 3 more picks, so they're not done, and they can still knock down more needs, add football players to the mix. Boy, you really want to make my day. You really want to send me over the moon. Somehow allow Austin Booker to still be available when we get to the 5th round. It's not going to happen. He's a 4th round pick all day, every day. He's not making it to the 5th round. That I keep telling you, I wanted that 4th round pick because I wanted Austin Booker. You guys know how I felt about him. But you can't get everything you want. But I told y'all, stick with me. I ain't gonna lead you astray. I told y'all there was no value at 36 or 40 at tackle. So what did they do? They traded back. I told y'all we needed to come away with a fringe 1st round pick. What did they do? They took Johnny Newton. I mocked us, Johnny. This is the 2nd year in a row that I mocked us a player that we took. Last year, I think I mocked us the first 3 players and got them all right. Or it might have been the first, 3 players, but they weren't all in the same. I think I had Ricky Schomburg in the 4th, but we took him in the 3rd. I mocked this Johnny Newton right here at 36 in one of my mock drafts. Jaden Daniels and Johnny Newton were my first 2 picks. So they're killing it, man. And to see Mike Sandrill here, Ben Sinnott, I think it's a really good haul, man. I feel damn good about what we just did. Anyway, let's get to the comment section, see what you guys have to say. JLG, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. JLG writes, even though I wish we took a left tackle sooner, this might be the greatest draft class I've ever seen from us. What says you? Whoa. I won't say it's the greatest draft class. But again, you might have only seen 7 draft classes. So this might be the greatest one you've ever seen. This is a really good one so far, and we're not even done yet. I'll tell you that much. This is really good so far. I'm so excited about the players that they've added. We added dogs. I can't tell you how many drafts I've seen recently where I felt like we came away with either the first or the second best player at that position. Jaden Daniels is either the first quarterback or the second quarterback on everybody's list. That's universal. Either he's your number one quarterback over Caleb Williams or he's directly behind him. So one or two. I haven't seen a list that didn't have him as the second quarterback. So depending on who you talk to, you either got the best quarterback in this year's draft class, you got the second best. Johnny Newton, depending on who you talk to, is either the best defensive tackle or he's the second best. I think most people have him as the second best defensive tackle. Some people like Tavondre Sweat, who the Tennessee Titans took. But he's a specialized guy. He's not getting to the quarterback. He's going to take up space. He's immovable in the middle of the defense. He eats up double teams, and he's going to free up linebackers. But he's not getting to the quarterback like Johnny Newton is. To me, Johnny Newton's the second best defensive tackle in the draft. And then we got the best, nickel in the entire draft. All right. So depending on who you talk to, first or second best quarterback, first or second best defensive tackle, and the best nickel in the draft. Okay. No equivocations, by the way. Mike, the man has only been playing defensive back for 2 years. Man was a receiver for 3 years, second year playing defensive back, and he was already a leader and one of the best players on that Michigan defense. I fell in love with him last year in the Ohio State game. And I was eyeballing him then. And then he came back and had an even better campaign. Dog. And then you get Sanat. So I get why you're excited. Greatest is it feels like prisoner of the moment type talk. But it's a really good draft so far. I think had they gotten a tackle that we all approved of, it might have pushed it over the top. But it's still a really good draft. Damn, Phoenix getting their ass towed up. They about to get swept. This feels good. I'm not even going to front. This feels really good. Cheers to Chef. Cheers to Chef P. King of the Bluegrass. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. King of the Bluegrass writes, I don't understand pick 67. Why not Caden Wallace there? That's what I thought they were going to take. You know, they had Caden Wallace in for a visit. They had Kieran Omegadeji. I was so glad they didn't take him because he's a project. He needs work. You know, he may never develop into anything you can utilize. And also, we have to remember, and I know you guys don't want to hear this shit, and I get it, but they did take Braden Daniels. I keep bringing him up for a reason, okay? You know, don't stone me to death, okay? Don't hit me, right? But they did draft Braden Daniels last year. Not they. The last regime did draft Braden Daniels last year. Okay. And my guess is he's probably put on 7 to 10 pounds. He's probably over 300 pounds now. He's probably much stronger than he was as a rookie when he came into the league. And my guess is he's much more prepared to compete this year than he was as a rookie last year when he was sub 300 pounds. That's my guess. I'm not telling you he's a starting tackle in this league. I'm not telling you that he's going to be able to help us. I'm not even telling you that they even like him. But he's a rookie, or excuse me, he's on a rookie deal. He's only in the second year of a rookie contract. Don't discount him either. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Just keep that in mind. We have stuff. I'm not telling you it's good stuff. I'm not telling you it's bad stuff. We got stuff. Take it for what it's worth. All right. I thought Caden Wallace was going to be the pick, to be honest with you. When I thought about the guys they brought in for visits, he was the one that stuck out like a sore thumb at that point of the draft with what had already been taken. I just felt like, okay, Caden Wallace is the pick because the two guys I was thinking about was Kieran Omegadeji and Caden Wallace. And I'm like, well, it's a no-brainer. I'm not taking Kieran Omegadeji here. It's got to be Caden Wallace. I was wrong. And that's okay. That's okay. DeQueves, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. DeQueves writes, one hell of a draft so far, Lou. Chef P cooking, man. He cooking up, boy. Them flames is high, man. I'm looking and I'm like, damn, that shit look good as a bitch. You know, he got the little noodles over there. I'm like, yeah, keep that shrimp away from my shit though. You know, I'm vegan. I don't need all that extra shit. But go ahead, man. Cook me up that hibachi. Yeah, get all them vegetables. Give me that lo mein. Yeah, just like that. Pour a little bit of that sauce. Yeah, get that soy sauce up there. Mix all that. Yeah, that shit look good, bro. Right now, the draft is looking real good. Chef Peace cooking up. He's cooking up. I like it. I like it a lot. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, is Benson not our Kyle Juszczyk? No, I don't think so. Because we're not running Kyle's offense. You know, Kyle Juszczyk is a luxury that you have when you run a system like the 49ers do, where a fullback is a part of your attack. We don't have a fullback in this offense under Cliff Kingsbury. There's no fullback in this offense. So, no, he's a tight end, and they're going to utilize him. So, no, I don't see him being Kyle Juszczyk. But what I do think is if they decide to get into formations where, you know, they motion and he comes into the backfield, he can do that very well, right? Kind of that H-back role like Chris Cooley. I told you we just drafted Chris Cooley. Remember, Cooley played H-back, especially early in his career with Joe Gibbs. I see him as sort of that role, kind of a move tight end, so to speak. Wilfredo Elias, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, 2023 Heisman, 2023 national champ equals winning culture. It starts there. It starts with the mentality. You want guys that love football. You want guys that play hard. You want guys that play physical but play the right way. I think we drafted a bunch of those dudes today. Excuse me. I can't wait to kind of consume like the phone calls, and I can't wait for the next episode of Commander's Log, because you know they're going to be chronicling all of this. They did it last year with the rookies. I seen Jaden Daniels had his press conference, so I'm gonna gobble that up and see what he was talking about. They had phone calls with all of the guys that were taken. I haven't had a chance to watch any of that, and then I haven't had a chance to watch Adam Peters' presser. So, you know, I'm gonna watch all of that shit, take it in. We'll talk about that tomorrow night, right? After the entire draft is met its conclusion and we go live tomorrow night, we'll have a conversation about all that we've all watched at that point. Because, you know, during this time, you can't get enough content, right? You gobble all of this shit up, man. Give me everything you got. You know, you got a phone call. I don't care if that shit 39 seconds. Let me get it, right? Yeah, I want all of it. So we'll talk about all of that tomorrow. But yeah, it starts with the mentality. And Jaden Daniels, he wasn't a national champion, right? But he was a Heisman Trophy winner, right? So again, he did some really good things in the best conference in football. So Ninja X, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, love the McCaffrey pick. Pedigree is invaluable. That's an intangible that you can't quantify. A lot of people don't take that into consideration when these types of picks are made. They just strictly look at the player, and that's cool. But you do have to take that into consideration. Pedigree matters. I'm not a big, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. guy. I think the league has spoken. All of the linebackers I told you about that were any good, they're gone. Okay, Junior Colston and Peyton Wilson. We later found out he doesn't have an ACL. That's why nobody took him. He does not have an ACL. And every team was like, thank you, no thank you. And the Steelers was like, he don't have no ACL. Hines Ward ain't had no ACL. Miles Jack ain't had no ACL. Bring your ass to Pittsburgh. We know how to take care of you. He's gone. Right? And Edgerrin Cooper went a long time ago to Green Bay in the second round. Those were the three. Now, somehow Trevin Wallace slipped into the mix, right? And I think the Mizzou linebacker jumped in there too. But it's funny because all these other dudes are jumping in the mix. Still haven't heard from Jeremiah Trotter Jr. And I try to tell y'all, and he's just a dude. And he might end up being a good linebacker in this league. But I only bring him up to say that pedigree matters. And I told you, I think his name resonates with you because of the namesake. Same thing could be said from Christian McCaffrey's brother, Luke. But we'll see if he can stand tall on his own and say, hey, I might be Christian McCaffrey's younger brother, but I'm Luke McCaffrey. Don't call me Christian McCaffrey's brother. I got a name. And so I feel like it's like Solange. Solange is like, yeah, Beyonce is my sister. She's my big sister, and she's really, really important, and she's really, really famous. But I'm my own me. I'm me. And she carved out her own niche, and I love me some Solange. And she's like, hey, don't call me by, Beyonce's sister. Call me by my God-given name. What y'all know about that? Luke McCaffrey going to have to carve out his own niche in this league. But like you said, those bloodlines, Daddy was a baller. A lot of y'all don't know about Easy Ed McCaffrey. Daddy was a baller. Son is a baller. Let's see if Junior is a baller too. We're going to find out. JLG, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. JLG writes, one pick I'm concerned about is LMC, Luke McCaffrey. For a third rounder, I'm not sure how much he'll see the ball this year. And like I said yesterday, I don't just want Jaden throwing the ball more than 25 to 30 times a game. But why would that concern you, right? If he comes in here and he fills the Curtis Samuel role, right? Because Curtis, we already knew going into the season, Curtis probably going to catch no more than somewhere from 40 to 55 balls, right? If he fills that void, let's say he's on the low end, he's a rookie. So let's say he catches 41 passes for, 437 yards and 2 touchdowns this year. That's a good rookie season. Jaden's going to throw the ball as many times as we need him to throw the ball for us to win. If we're playing with a lead and we're able to run the football, great. But just like C.J. Stroud last year, there were games where C.J. Stroud only threw it 27 times. But there were some games where they were down and it was a shootout and C.J. had to throw that bitch 49 times for 417 yards and 4 touchdowns. And if Jaden's got to do that, Jaden's going to have to do it. And he needs weapons if he's going to have to do that. I'm not concerned with the pick at all. Not concerned with the pick one bit. Sonny Rawson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, Lou, you got to be feeling yourself after your comms mock now. I mean, this is the second year in a row that I've hit on the first 2 picks like that. And, what makes this one special, because last year, those boys were predictable, right? We kind of knew what Rivera and them were going to do. They were very predictable. This was a lot more unpredictable, like Jamie Foxx. So I wasn't sure. And I went a step further. I took a guy at a position where you would say, of all the positions, that's the one we don't need. So that was kind of out of left field for most people. Me taking, Johnny Newton, defensive tackle, we got a bunch of those. But you don't have a Johnny Newton, though. Now, do you? No, you don't. If he's available, you take him. And that let me know, oh, Chef P out here cooking for real. No, he cooking. Not that shit that Martin Mayhew was doing, that bullshit ass stuff we had going on. No, he cooking. Martin Mayhew went to the store and got some store-bought shit and tried to pass it off as some shit he got in the kitchen and made. We read right through that shit. We saw right through it. Nah, Chef P got his hands dirty, man. He got the ingredients out. He made this shit himself. Kimura, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Kimura writes, AP says they view Coleman as a tackle and all dudes drafted were team captains. bringing in leaders. Gotta love it. Amazing day 2. Okay, if that's what he says, I take him at his word and face value. If you tell me he's a tackle and we got a starting tackle, well, by golly, we got ourselves a starting tackle. I'm not questioning him because I told you it's blind faith over here, baby. The minute he drafted Johnny Newton, he had me hook, line, and sinker. I said, oh shit, we gonna have ourselves a hell of a relationship. I think I'm in love already. I think I done found my GM. Because this man literally, him and Lance Newmark looked me in my eyes and told me, we taking good football players, the best possible football players we can get. I know y'all are fixated on needs. I'm going to just tell you straight up. I don't give a damn about a need. I'm trying to get ballers out here. We'll figure out the rest later. I'm smiling like a proud papa whose only son finally made it, man. I'm looking at AP and I'm like, you know, AP be smiling like he don't have no top lip. That should be like this. I'm over here with an AP smile like, oh, man, this shit is beautiful. Oh, man, this is some good shit, man. All of these dudes, so they got a plan in mind. All of these dudes were captains, right? Alphas, that's what we call those. Call it what it is. In order to be a captain, you got to be an alpha. They don't make betas captains, okay? They don't make betas captain. You don't get a C on your chest being a beta. You got to be an alpha. Kevin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Kevin writes, how do you think Goot did? Pretty happy besides our last pick. He trusts our cornerback room more than both of us do, Lou. Well, we'll see how that turns out. So, you know what? I think Goody kind of foreshadowed what he was going to do, right? Because when y'all re-signed the cornerback, the dude with the return ability, when you re-signed him this off, I said, okay, I think they think more highly of their cornerback room than most people do. They're betting on Jair Alexander having, a bounce back year. They're betting on the other corner being good. I forget his name. And then I actually like the young boy that y'all re-signed. Excuse me. Kyshawn Nixon. I really like Kyshawn Nixon a lot. I like him a lot. So they're really, that second corner, I can't remember his name, but he putting a lot of trust in that dude. And I'm not sure about him. That's the one that's going to get you got. If he don't turn out to be good, you could be in some trouble. But I thought y'all did some good things. So y'all doubled up on linebacker. That was surprising. And we talked about that on our show on Bleacher Report. Why did y'all double up on linebacker? So Edgerrin Cooper totally got it. The second kid from Mizzou, I said 2 linebackers. So is something off with Quay Walker? Because that was the first thing I thought of. Y'all don't like Quay Walker? Or are we putting these dudes next to Quay Walker on both sides? What are we doing? So it'd be nice if you could talk to me about that. I'm trying to think of the other pick that y'all had. Y'all had one more pick in between the 2 linebackers. Let me check it out. But I remember you had the 2 linebacker picks. Let me see who that other pick was that I can't recall. And you had 2 picks in between. Marshawn Lloyd was a baller pick because the future is obviously Josh Jacobs, but Marshawn Lloyd is an upgrade over AJ Dillon. And I know Lloyd is more like a Josh Jacobs than he is Dillon, AJ Dillon, but I think AJ Dillon, which y'all signed him to a 1-year deal. Y'all just I feel like y'all just brought him back for 1 more year. But Marshawn Lloyd, he's more like Josh Jacobs, and Josh Jacobs has no issues getting injured and missing 2 weeks with a ankle sprain or a knee sprain, right? He has no issues missing 3 to 4 weeks. Now you got a guy that can step in and give you the same type of production. I love that one. And Javon Bullard, a lot of people love him at the safety position. I think he's really good too. That's a solid pick right there. In a safety class that wasn't all that great to begin with, he was one of the top safeties. I think he was my second safety on the board after Tyler Nubin. So I like Javon Bullard a lot. I think this is a solid haul so far, man. I think you guys did really good. Like you said, though, I was still looking at corner like, you sure you're going to roll with these corners? He's like, yeah, we good. I said, okay. If you say so, okay. I'll reload it. Rico L. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rico L. Right. What's up, Lou? What's up, Rico? Hell of a night, huh? You said it. I was completely blindsided by us taking Newton over a tackle in the second. I wasn't. I wasn't blindsided at all. Rico, hey, come vibe with me, man. Come scribe with me a little bit. I got you. All right? If you follow the kid, I won't lead you astray. I could have told you that. I told you it won't no value at tackle in the second round where we were picking. You wouldn't have been blindsided if you would have been rocking with me. He said, but Chef P was still out there cooking. Indeed, he was. Indeed, he was. Neil M. You see how bad the Suns are. Are they trying to make a comeback? Well, they cut the lead down a little bit. Neil M. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Neil writes, Adam cooked up a feast. Luke McCaffrey will be a scrappy dog. I think so, too. You know, it's funny you call him a scrappy dog, because I'm thinking a scrappy dude, right? He ain't his brother, right? Obviously different positions, but, you know, he ain't Scooby-Doo. That's Christian. But he might be Scrappy Doo, right? And Scrappy was always ready for the smoke. So I think we might have got us one, man. Junior Nando, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Junior writes, love my draft. Damn, seems like you guys had 10 picks, didn't it? You know, it got so crazy at one point. I had forgot picks that we had made earlier because we made so many picks, right? It had gotten to the point where I had forgotten about Ben Sinnott, right? I'm like, damn, who we take after Mike Sanders? We had another pick, right? It was another one in there. I was like the little black kid, the gif you see when he be like, I was thinking hard, like, oh yeah, we took Ben Sinnott. It felt like we was on the clock a million times today. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And I do like what the Packers have done, and I just went over that with talking about it with Kevin. I do like what the Packers have done today, or have done thus far in the draft, even going back to their first round pick of Jordan Morgan to continue to solidify that offensive line. Excuse me, Rico L. See, you got it. Stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. Mob, you know what to do. Show Rico some love. Welcome him with open arms and show him how we do it in the MOBB. Rico, welcome to the squad. Now you'll never be in the dark. You'll never be blindsided again. Unless somehow we pull some Atlanta Falcons shit. You'll never be blindsided. Okay? I'm going to make sure you stay up on the latest and the greatest. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Cole Luke lit a cigar after the third round, broke out the Henny XX. Good one. Good one. Yeah. He was like, yo. Oh, word? They ain't take a real tackle? He cut the end off of that cigar? Looks like I'm going to be starting this year. Hey, Penny! I'm starting this year. Yeah, they ain't take no tackle in the third round. Yeah, I'm starting. We gonna see, man. He might not be starting this year. We gonna see. It feel like he might have lit up though. On some Rick Ross shit. It felt like he might have lit up. Rico, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Rico, double up, thank you for doubling up. Who writes, y'all smash that like button for our boy. Y'all know what it is. Appreciate the public service announcement. If you haven't already hit it, please hit the like button. Hey, I appreciate y'all rocking with the kid on this after party, man. You know, it's a little late, and I was a little late. The stream ran a little bit long, you know how that goes. But y'all still rolling with the kid. Over 1,100 of y'all right now. I love it, man. Really, truly do appreciate the support. Salud to each and every single one of y'all out there. Kimura, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, great show on Bleacher Report. Becton and Bakhtiari are still out there in free agency also. Yeah, Bakhtiari is a liability at this point. He can't stay healthy. You can ask the Packers fans in the comment section. They'll tell you that he's a walking injury waiting to happen at this point of his career. I'll pass on him. I'm more likely to take a flyer on Becton before I mess around with Bakhtiari. I know Becton has only played 1 year, you know, where he stayed healthy. That was this past year. And clearly the rest of the league is like, yeah, we good on him too. So we'll see. You know what? I kind of think they feel like, no, we're fine. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but I told you, you're not going to be able to fix everything in 1 year. I'd much rather get better at other positions and still have some question marks here and there, but you got some elite player. That's what it kind of feels like we just did, right? We got some stuff, man. We got some stuff, man. Shaboing boing, man. We got some stuff, man. Oh, hey, I appreciate you checking me out on Bleacher Report too and supporting the kid, man. Really do appreciate everybody that came through on Bleacher Report and held the kid down. That was a lot of fun as well. Yeah, Becton's still available. Bakhtiari's still available. So, you know, if they want to go that route, they can. Lang Hughes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Lang Hughes writes, AP just confirmed they see Coleman as a tackle. And that's what I've been told. So I thank you for doubling down on that. He thinks that he's a tackle. Okay. If he says he's a tackle, he's a tackle. I told you, I'm going to take him at face value. If you tell me he's a tackle, I told you at 67, what did I tell y'all earlier? At 67, press the button. He pressed the button. It wasn't the button we thought. We didn't think that was what the button was going to look like, but he pressed the button at 67. So, in closing, so let me go back and amend the statement that I made earlier. Because I told you, somebody asked me earlier, and you can go back and watch the video, what would a great day two look like? And I said, get a fringe first round pick, Johnny Newton, check. I said, trade back either 40 or 78, get a fourth round pick. They did not get a fourth round pick, but which would you rather have? A fourth round pick or an extra second round pick? That's a tough one, Louie Tee. No, it's not a tough one. Okay. Check. Okay. They traded back and picked up an extra pick. All right. And it was in the second round, not the fourth round. And then I said, get you a starting caliber tackle. Jury's still out. But if he says he's a tackle, I'm going to put a small baby check. Check. We ain't going to do the big checks like we did for the first two. Little baby check. Boop. Stick with me, man. I won't lead you astray. Just like I told y'all with the Mando. I won't lead you astray. Use that promo code Louie Tee. Get your $5 off, right? I ain't going to lead you astray. Stick with me. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Video channel writes, Cosme for left tackle, 2024. Man, it's feeling like Cosme might be playing some tackle. But I've always said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He played his best year of ball at guard If I'm them, I'm leaving Sam Cosmi right where he is. He's going into a contract year. Let him stay at guard. You can pay him guard money to stay here if he plays well again. Don't fool around with him. Leave him be. And if that's the case, Brandon Coleman, I probably, he was over on the left side when he was playing at TCU. A lot of the time when you watched him, he was playing a lot of on the left side, primarily at guard, but he played some left tackle too. Cole Luke, to me, is better on the left side than he is the right side, but he could play both sides. I think he's more natural on the left side, but we'll see if that's the route they decide to take. We'll see. Christopher McLaughlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Chris, thank you for the generosity. As always, can't thank you enough for the support and all that you do for the Louie Tee Network, man. So truly, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB as well. Thank you for your generosity all of the times that you bless people with memberships. Thank you, Chris. Truly, thank you. He writes, hey, Lou. What's up, Chris? Hope all is well with you and the family. Likewise. Likewise. Everything's good on my end. Hope the same can be said for you and yours. 2 questions. How do you think Quinn and Witt Jr. scheme the defensive tackles to get Allen, Payne, and Newton on the field? 2, Peter says Coleman had 1,600 snaps at tackle. Do you think it will be Lucas and Cosmi at tackle with Coleman ready to step in? It'll be interesting to see how they, go about it. I personally, if they believe he's a tackle, and everybody, including yourself now, telling me that he had 1,600 snaps at tackle, and Adam Peters, Chef P, said he's a tackle. If that's how they see him, if that's how they view him, then you just leave Sam Cosmi at guard. That's what it is. Because I told you, I'd be okay with Cole Luke starting at left or right tackle. I'd be fine with that. I prefer him in a swing tackle role. Okay. I prefer him in that role. But if you told me he had to start, I'm okay with that. Now, next year, I'd be telling you, hey, we need to draft a starting tackle. But to get away with it in year 1 of a recalibration as you try to find your north, I'm okay with Cole Luke manning up one of the tackle positions. What I'm not okay with is Andrew Wiley doing it. So as long as we stay away from that, I think we'll be fine. Now, God forbid, and this is the part that's scary, knock on some wood. God forbid anything happen to any one of the tackles that they ultimately tried out there as starters, assuming that they're good, and we can't even assume that yet, but assuming that they're any good, something happens to them, we're in trouble. Now, they got the guy from the Steelers, and I told you I was more impressed with him last year than I thought I would be, but I set a very low bar for him. I was not expecting a whole hell of a lot. So when he exceeded my expectations, I was like, oh, he's actually better than I was giving him credit for. But I wasn't giving him very much credit to begin with. So that wasn't hard to do. So I think ultimately it'll be Lucas and Coleman at tackle if Coleman is actually a tackle. And from all reports, from everybody telling me what Chef P said, he's a tackle. I have to go do some more work. I watched like 2 games of him real quick, and most of that action, he moved around. He played some tackle, but he was primarily at guard. So, what's interesting though too, in the offense that we're going to run, it's an offense that's kind of spread out, sort of like TCU's offense, where the offensive linemen have a little bit more space in between them. They're wider splits. Excuse me. And so, and you don't have to protect for very long in Cliff Kingsbury's system because the ball comes out quick. So he might be just fine. He might be just fine. But as far as your other question is concerned, how will Joe Witt Jr. and Dan Quinn scheme it up to get all 3 of those guys on the field at once? So this was one of their specialties in Dallas. They would mix and match parts, get guys on the field. That's part of why Dorrance Armstrong was able to have a career year last year, And he was trending in that direction anyway. But they would kick Dorrance Armstrong down to a 3-tech on passing downs, right? Dorrance Armstrong is like 200 and probably like 60 pounds, 265 pounds. Like, he's no defensive tackle. But they saw an opportunity to get a guy on the field and create a mismatch, so they did. And I think they're going to do the same thing with Johnny Newton. And I think there are going to be some situations where Johnny Newton's on the field and Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen are on the field. But just think about it in this regard. There would be times where we would be like, hey, you can't take both Allen and Payne off the field at the same time. Like I can't do a John Ridgeway, Fedarian Mathis pairing on the field. That's not okay. Now, if one of those dudes is off the field, Johnny Newton is on the field. So you still got a dog in there. So even if it's with Ridgeway, if he's paired with one of the other two, I'm good with that. And they're going to be packages where all three of them dudes on the field with Dorrance Armstrong. That's going to be nasty, with Frankie Louvu potentially blitzing on the play. Like, this shit is about to be real, man. And if we ever get into a situation where we have an issue stopping the run, you can put all three of them dudes on the field at once. That's what Rivera used to do. When we couldn't stop the run, they would go to that 5-man defensive front. One thing DQ always did was he found ways. Remember what Joe Witt Jr. told us. If you are a stud, we're going to draw some shit up for you. We're going to get you opportunities. We take care of our studs. We just drafted a stud. We just drafted one of them boys, right? They're going to find ways to get him on the field and get him reps and get him snaps. Jason Fios, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Jason Fios writes, what up, Lou? What's up, Jason? Thought we should have taken a tackle at 53, but maybe they have a plan. Maybe Braden Daniels is in the mix. Your thoughts? And I already brought him up. I told y'all, don't stone me to death. Don't hit me. But Braden Daniels, don't forget about him. I mean, he's there. I'm not telling you that he's the answer, but he's in the mix. What mix? Don't know, but he's in the mix. I thought in 53, I too, initially, I'm not going to even front. I thought 53 was tackle territory. That was Blake Fisher. That was Patrick Paul. That was the territory. I don't love Patrick Paul. A lot of people, in this fan base love I didn't love Patrick Paul. But I was definitely open to Blake Fisher. I was definitely open to Kingsley Suamataia. And I think they would have taken him if he was available at 67. I don't think they were comfortable with Suamataia at 53. I don't think they felt like that was good value. They thought, obviously, they showed us what they thought. Ben Sinnott was better value than any of the tackles, or else they would have taken the tackle. And I don't blame them for doing what they thought was right in their mind's eye. But I, too, thought 53 was where we were taking tackle, without question. If I were a betting man, I would have put some money down in that moment on, this pick is definitely a tackle. Right now, they're in that wheelhouse of where these tackles are going to start going again. And sure enough, I want to say it was either the very next pick or the pick after that. It was Blake Fisher. And then we started to see some of these tackles go. And by the time we got on the clock at 67, all the good tackles, any of the guys, as a matter of fact, it was Patrick Paul that was next. He went like the 2 picks later, I think. And then it was Blake Fisher to the Texans. And then it was Kingsley Suamataia, and I forgot where he went. And I was like, shit, he was the last one, right? I was like, oh. All right. I'm like, all right, so Caden Wallace is going to be Caden Wallace, but it wasn't. It was Brandon Coleman. Braden Daniels is definitely a guy that I think you shouldn't discount. I'm not telling you he's the answer. I'm just telling you don't forget about him. Duncan Wright, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Duncan writes, drink up, my man Lou. We both got what we wanted. Cheers to that. Cheers to that. We both got what we wanted. I agree with you. Cheers. I want to say it was nice doing business with you, but I'd be lying because I don't want to help your ass. But you got what you wanted. I got what I wanted. So you're right. Wholeheartedly. Tony P56, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Tony P writes, is he Trey Quinn? Nah, he better than Trey Quinn. But that's the shit you get in the 7th round, right? When I told you, hey, I'm good on 7th round picks. If you could trade up and if you can make a deal and throw in the 7th round pick to get you a 4th round pick, do that, right? Because normally you come away with James Smith-Williams or Trey Quinn or Shaka Tony, Dax Milne. Those are the type of players you come away with the 7th round usually. All right. So yeah, I'm good. No, he's not Trey Quinn. He's way better than Trey Quinn. Don't ask Jay Gruden. He'll tell you no, he's not better than Trey Quinn. But yeah, he's better than Trey Quinn, man. Christopher McLaughlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy Chris. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy Chris writes, hey Lou, 4 questions. 1, what are your thoughts on Sanat being compared to Chris Cooley's role on this team? I already said that. That's crazy. I don't know if you heard that somewhere else, but I literally see Ben Sanat as Chris Cooley. Chris Cooley to a T because of what Cooley was. And I know it's easy, white tight end that was here, that was like a sort of an H-back, but literally his game is very similar. Like Chris Cooley wasn't jumping over anybody, and I don't know what Chris Cooley ran. I doubt he ran 4.6s. He was definitely a 4.7 guy, was Chris Cooley, because he ran flat-footed. He didn't run on his toes. But Chris Cooley could block. Chris Cooley could catch. He was better. He was, I think, a better on the move blocking tight end, and he could get down and dirty and he catch the football. And Ben Sanat, I'm telling you, y'all gonna fall in love with this dude quick, because a lot of y'all already got like Cooley nostalgia, so you're gonna fall in love with him real quick if he gives you those vibes, and he's going to. 2 and 3. He says, who's our number 3 receiver on this team, and how does it get addressed? I think there's a battle now between obviously Luke McCaffrey and De'Ami Brown. Those are the 2 guys that I think are jockeying for that opportunity to be the 3rd guy. It'll be interesting to see who gets first crack, because it's a new offense. So it's not like De'Ami comes in with the upper hand because he already knows the scheme. He's learning just like everybody else. The only difference is he's already played in the NFL for multiple years, so he should be a little bit more able to adjust on the fly and get in there and have a contribution. But you would think that De'Ami would have the leg up in that competition. But again, anytime a new regime comes in, they're going to try to give their guys as many opportunities as they possibly can. So be on the lookout for Luke McCaffrey to get as many opportunities to be the guy as humanly possible. And then so I think it's already addressed, right? The Luke McCaffrey pick already addresses that. Remember, they brought in Olamide Zaccheaus. A lot of y'all forget about him. He making his team, bro. Olamide Zaccheaus is making his football team. So I don't see them doing anything else at wide receiver, right? You got 5 guys right there with Terry, Jahan, Luke McCaffrey, De'Ami Brown, and Olamide Zaccheaus. There may be one more spot for a guy that can offer you some return ability, right, at receiver. But right now, those 5 guys are your receivers. And don't forget about Mitchell Tinsley. He could also make the team, because I think there's space for 6 receivers on this roster. But we'll see what they decide to do, right? So, yeah, the 3rd receiver is already on the team now, and it's either Luke McCaffrey or De'Ami Brown. And number 4, he says, is it BPA on the remaining 3 picks as of now? I think that as you get later into the draft, it's supposed to be BPA. The later you get into the draft, I'm going to tell y'all right now, though, I expect, you can go ahead and you can quote me on this. I was trying to think of his first name, and I don't want to call him the wrong name. I was about to call him Tyrese. I think it's Tyrese. I'm pretty sure it's Tyrese. Tyrese Knight. His name might not be Tyrese. I think it's Tyrese. Out of UTEP, the linebacker. If somebody doesn't get to him first, mark my words, he's a commander in the 5th round. Go ahead and book that. If he's there at pick, we got the 2nd or 3rd pick in the 5th round. One of those 2 picks. I think it's the 2nd pick in the 5th round. If Tyrese is there, unless there's another dude that they're like, oh my God, we had a 4th round grade on this dude, and he's sitting here, they're going to take that guy instead. But they got 2 5th round picks. One of those 5th round picks, if he's there, is Tyrese Knight, linebacker out of UTEP. Come back and tell me I'm wrong. If he's available. Obviously, if he's not, then of course that ain't happening. Yeah, the rest of these picks should be BPA. That's what you do at the back of the draft because you're looking to find a diamond in the rough. The way that you do that is you go after traits now. To hell with needs. Because you're not looking to fill a need in the back end of the draft a lot of times. I mean, you can, but we're not at that stage of our roster building yet where you're looking to fit needs at the back end of the draft. We're looking for the best player we can possibly find in the 5th round with those 2 picks and in the 7th round, irregardless of position. So if it happens to fit a need, great. Again, there aren't many selections you can make that doesn't fit a need in Washington right now. So it's not going to be too many things you go, why did they do that? The only thing they could probably do that with is punter at this point. Even if they took a kicker in the 7th round, you'd be like, hell yeah. I don't believe in Brandon McManus' ass anyway. Like, it ain't really shit they can do that you're going to be like, nah, they shouldn't have did that. So, yeah. We'll see what happens. Oh, somebody brought up Jamison Crowder. That's right. And Crowder too. And you know what? Crowder making his team. More likely than not. So they might already have 6 receivers while you bullshitting. Because they definitely, thank you, video channel. I forgot all about Jamison Crowder. So one of those 2 might not make the roster. If they go with 5 receivers, then that last spot is between Jamison Crowder and Olamide Zaccheaus. If they go with 6, all of those dudes making the team. All 6 of them making the squad. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, my 2024 line prediction, left to right. Cole Luke at left tackle. Brandon Coleman at left guard. Tyler Biadasz at center. Nick Allegretti at right guard. Sam Cosmi at right tackle. Okay. And we'll see if they play around with it. Right. We'll see if they play around with the offensive line and mix and match pieces. I still think as of right now, Coleman strikes me as a guy that's more comfortable playing on the left side. So Coleman would be your left tackle. Cole Luke would kick over to the right side. Allegretti is your left guard. Biadasz is your center, and Cosmi is your right guard. So we'll see. Either way, they have optionality. JD Sports Talk. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. JD writes, Safe to say 5 of these picks are going to start? Question mark. They drafted 6 dudes. Yeah, I'd say, let me think about all 6 of them. With the exception of Newton, I don't think he's starting over the Bama wall, but he's going to get significant playtime. Outside of Newton, yeah, I think everybody else is probably going to see the field very early on. Jaden Daniels is definitely starting day one. Mike Sanders definitely starting in the nickel in the slot. Ben Sinnott, I don't know if he's starting. Like Zach Ertz is here to start, right? If you're coming out in a 2 tight end set, sure, Sinnott could see the field, but even then it could be John Bates, right? So I'd say 4 out of the 6. Newton and Sinnott probably won't start, day one. But as we go through the season, I can see Sinnott taking more and more snaps from, if they feel like he's progressing fast enough, I can see him taking more reps, more snaps from Zach Ertz till he eventually takes over as the lead dog. But, we'll see. Everybody else kind of feels like, and McCaffrey, a lot of teams start with 3 wide receiver sets. It's rare you come out with in 12 personnel or 21 personnel. Normally you come out in 11 personnel. Most teams do. So in doing that, there's usually an extra receiver on the field. But yeah, at least 4 out of the 6. It could be 3 out of the 6. Spence Collies, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Spence, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, why Newton over Kool-Aid? We are loaded at defensive tackle. See, y'all missing the point, man. Yeah. I don't know how many times I got to explain this to y'all, man. Some of y'all missing the point, man. Y'all got to think outside the box. Y'all got to think. See, you've been preconditioned to think about how losers think. That's loser talk, Spence. Let me explain to you again, even though I've done this 15 times already. Which one would you rather have? Kool-Aid McKinstry, 5th, 6th best corner in the draft. And again, this is not a great corner draft class to begin with, as I've already mentioned. I like the nickels in this draft way better than I do the boundaries. I like Abrams Drain, right, out of Mizzou. He's more of a nickel, right? DJ James, haven't heard his name called yet. Why? Because he's a nickel. I think he's going to be really good, right? But we got the best one in Mike Sanders. But that's nor here nor there. Would you rather have the 6th best corner in the draft? So let's see. Quinyon was gone. Terrion Arnold, his teammate, was gone. Nate Wiggins was gone. And then he was available, and Cooper was available. Cooper is better to me than Kool-Aid McKinstry. So you want the 5th best corner, potentially 5th, 6th best corner, or you want the 2nd best defensive tackle? Which one gives you better value? When you draft for need over talent, you stay where we've been as a 7, 8, 7, 6, 7, 8 win team. You stay in mediocrity when you draft for need. When you draft talent, high-level talent, and you figure it out, that's how you start winning 10, 11, 12 games. Because eventually, cream rises to the top. You keep drafting for needs, you keep drafting Jamin Davis. Go right ahead, draft Jamin Davis because you need a linebacker. Go ahead. If that's what you're looking for, draft Jamin Davis. Go ahead. You got a need at linebacker, right? You got a need at defensive tackle. Draft Fadarian Mathis. Go ahead. You ain't sure if you're going to re-sign Deron Payne next year. You got a need at defensive tackle. Go ahead. Draft him. Draft Fadarian Mathis. We got a need, right? That's what you want to do? Draft because we have a need, or you want talent? Because I'd much rather have talent. That's what the good teams do. The good teams say, You know what the Raiders did? And I know the Raiders isn't a great example, but I love this mindset. You know what the Raiders said? Bro, we're drafting at 13. We could use a corner, and none of the corners have been taken yet. And we could take the best corner in our mind's eye. Or we could take the best tight end in the draft and the dude that's a top 5 in most years. Brock Bowers is a top 5, definitely a top 10 pick in most years' drafts. Or we could take that guy instead of taking a corner who played at Toledo. And I'm not telling you that Quinyon Mitchell ain't going to be a dog, because I think he is going to be a dog. But there's a reason he fell to 22. And again, Justin Jefferson fell to 22, and look at what he turned into. I'm just telling you, you got options. But which one you going to choose? Oh, we took a tight end in the second round last year, Michael Mayer. We don't need a tight end. You know what they said? Bullshit. Brock Bowers is staring us in the face. But we don't need tight end. To hell with that. I'm taking the best player available. You know why? Because the cream is going to rise to the top. Keep rising to the top. Give it all you got. I'd much rather have a dude that's a baller, blue chip, than take a need and get me a red or a white chip or a purple chip or a yellow chip. Give me the blue chip, man. I'll figure the rest of that shit out later. You want to know why they took Johnny Newton? We loaded at defensive tackle. You know what the good teams do? They keep stacking on top of their strengths. They don't stop. Oh, we good at end? I'm going to get another defensive end. Now I'm going to put another dude on the field that you can't block. You know how the Giants used to be dominant with Michael Strahan? You know what? Every year they would draft another damn defensive lineman. We already got enough. Well, take Matthias Kiwanuka. We already got. Take Justin Tuck. We already got enough dudes. Take another one. This is how it works when you cooking with gasoline. We used to be cooking with charcoal, man. Results may vary when it's charcoal, right? We cooking with gasoline now. We got propane tanks over here, man. Just turn the knob on and let's go to work. Mr. Pink, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, we finally got a tight end that can block. I mean, John Bates can block, technically speaking. He can't do both, but he can block and bruise you up. He's a nasty boy. Did you see his highlights playing hockey? Yeah, that was brutal, bro. I mean, he took that dude's head clean slam off. The guard was a low point, though. Sing it. You can't always get what you want. Not always, but again, they said he's a tackle. I'm going to stop calling him a guard. If Adam Peters says he's a tackle, I'm going to call him a tackle. So I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, he took that dude's head clean off. And you know he didn't get up, right? You saw the dude he hit. He stayed on the ground, boy. He decleated his ass. Yikes. Just Andre. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Just Andre writes, Mike Sandstrell with Joe Witt, can't wait. Bart Scott, can't wait. That's going to be so fun. I can't wait, boy. Oh, my God. They told us we're going to take it away. He told us we're going to take it away. Now they went and got us some hunters, man. Went and got us some hunter-gatherers. Boy, don't you love when a plan comes together? I love it, man. Love it, love it, love it, love it. McAllister Nicholas. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. McAllister Nicholas writes, what's up, bro? What's up, McAllister? Long time, Lou. It has been a while. It has been. Adam Peters said in his interview that Coleman is a tackle. McCaffrey pick was a hookup selection, personal relationship. I already told you where that pick came from. That was strictly off the strength of he knew Christian, which in turn allowed him to get to know Luke, and he felt real comfortable with the kid. I told you already. And I haven't even heard him speak yet. And I don't know if that's what he said or not, but I'm telling y'all that's why that pick was made. And I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. D for the win. Been a member for 3 months. Who writes, what second wave of free agents should we go after? Well, hard to say right now. The draft is not complete. There might be some more moves. There might be some guys that get cut after teams, see what their draft haul looks like. Have these guys come in for those rookie minis, and they might say, oh, if we got us one here, we can go ahead and get rid of this veteran now. That's the same thing we did with Morgan Moses. We drafted Sam Cosmi. We had the rookie minis. They said, oh, yeah, he's everything we thought he was. And they cut Morgan Moses' ass. So who knows? We'll see. That's how we ended up with Charles Leno, right? Bears got themselves a dude. All right, Charles, you dead weight. Cut his ass. And we went on the secondary market and got Charles Leno. So you never know. But right now, just kind of let the dust settle and the smoke clear. See how everything kind of shakes itself out. And then you go from there. I know the low-hanging fruit answer right now is tackle, but let's just see what they say. Brandon Coleman's a tackle. Let's just see how everything goes, right? Frankie, yo, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, my guy. Frankie, yo, writes, FBI showed up at our facility after reports of Adam Peters killing this draft surfaced. Goodbye to the days where our second round was Devin Thomas and Malcolm Kelly. Feels good, feels good. Hell, you went back to 2008, which you could argue is the single worst draft in NFL history by any team ever, right? You ain't even got to go back that far. Was Bryce... No, they weren't in the same draft. I think Bryce Love was 2019, and I think Darius Geis was 2018, I think. So I don't think they was the same draft. Bryce Love might have even been 2020. But we've had so many failed picks, man, and especially in the second round. I mean, how about Trent Murphy in the second round? How about Ryan Anderson in the second round? Like, I mean, we go on and on with these second round busts we had, man. It just feels good. We got some adults. I said this earlier. We got adults in the building, man, making adult decisions. Feels good. Feels good. Just Andre. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Just Andre writes, what EB has done to everyone has been studied. People think Cliff gonna just have JD throw the ball 40 times a game. Only took 1 year for Han to be trash. Look, he did a total mind F to everybody here. And it's hard to overcome that. It's a lot of fans that still got PTSD. Like how many times have we heard tonight, I don't want JD throwing it 40 times a game. Like that's the standard practice. That's standard operating procedure for a rookie is to throw it 40 times a game. That's not what teams in this league do, generally speaking. We just had the one coordinator that was insane enough to think that that's how you're going to help develop a young quarterback is to trot him out there and throw the bitch 40 times a game. That's not how it goes. Most teams don't do that with their rookie quarterbacks, right? But that's how people think now. EB he mind-effed everybody in this organization and got you thinking about shit in all kinds of crazy ways. Terry Basic, Jahan Trash, like it's crazy how bad it got. But for those of us who know, we know. Like none of that shit is true. None of it is true. Cliff is not going to have JD throwing the football more than he needs to. If we're losing and we got to come back and we got to throw to come back, yeah, he's going to throw it. That's what happens in this league. If we're winning, games tied, we're going to see some balance. You know, they're going to run the football. And if we take the lead and we get a lead, we're going to run the football. JD Sports Talk. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, will this be the most anticipated season ever for you? Nah. I mean, I can tell you this much. I'm going to be so excited, and I am going to be looking forward to this season. But there were years where we were coming off of, you know, winning the division, and I was hyped. Like, had Robert not gotten hurt at the end of 2012, 2013 would have been highly anticipated. But his injury put a damper on that. And even though he was all in for week one, it didn't feel the same. 2016 was highly anticipated after we won the division in 2015, because what Kirk had just done, even though he didn't get the contract extension and that kind of put a damper on it, what Kirk had just done was we knew he could replicate that, and he did in 2016, and we should have went back to the playoffs again. Remember that 2016 season, how it started? Remember, or that's 2017. Remember 2016 when he outdueled Aaron Rodgers on Sunday Night Football to get us to 6? I think we were 6-3-1 at that point, heading into Thanksgiving. What? Are you kidding me? But to me, the biggest anticipatory season was 2005 heading into 2006, because Joe Gibbs 2.0 was back and we admit to the playoffs. Not only did we go to the playoffs, that's the last time we won a playoff game. We were this close to beating Seattle. If Carlos Rogers could catch, we probably win against the Seattle Seahawks, and we're in the NFC Championship game, right? And so I was thinking, oh shit, here we go. Joe's back and he's going to lead us to the promised land. And then Joe, for whatever reason, thought the game had passed him by. He went out and got, Al Saunders, and he changed everything, and we took a massive step backwards. And so 2006 was a disaster, but it was highly anticipated at that time. I know a lot of you can't go back that far, but 2000. Are you kidding me? 99, we were literally a bad snap from Dan Turk away from going to the NFC Championship game. We would have beaten Tampa Bay. We were up 13-0. Brian Mitchell kickoff return to start the second half. We should have won that. That shit still hurts. To this day, that game still hurts. 2000, we go out, we signed Bruce, and this is before we found out Dan Snyder. Like, he just got here. Snyder's first year. Bruce Smith, Deion Sanders, Mark Carrier, Jeff George. Like, oh my God, we were favorites to go to the Super Bowl. Like, you can't top 2000. Okay. So, yeah, no, this is not the most anticipated season. But this one is pretty high on the list. This one's going to be one that I'm definitely looking forward to, for sure. HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, what did you think of the picks, Lou? I gave us a B+. I'll just say a solid B. My question mark surrounding Brandon Coleman, it doesn't allow for the plus to show up. But it's a solid B for me because of what we did with those first 4 picks, or first 3 picks rather, of day 2. If you're adding in Jaden Daniels, the first 4 picks are ridiculous, But if you're just talking about today, to get Johnny Newton, to then get Mike Sammerstrill, and then get Ben Sinnott, what? And I think Luke McCaffrey could be, end up being a gem. We'll see. Still a little bit early for my taste, but he might end up being a gem. Who knows? So Brandon Coleman may end up being a really good player for us. We'll find out. Just understand, Chef P he joked about this, going 9 for 9. I don't expect him to go 9 for 9. It'd be nice if he went 9 for 9, but he's going to miss on 2 or 3 of these picks. That's what happens. And most of the time, it's a 40% hit rate in the draft. So we got 9 picks. The likelihood is he hits on 3 of them, right? Maybe 4. There's no like 40%. If we had 10 players, then it'd be easy math. 4 guys he'd hit on out of the 10. But we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I think it's a B. Tony P56. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes? We weren't going to do it, but Trey Benson went one before us to the Cards. And that, Lou, is what it means to be a Washington fan. LOL. P.O. Box, I'm going to get one. I thought about you. It's crazy you brought it up. I thought about you 2 days ago. And I told myself, I need to go get that P.O. Box because my guy, Tony P, keeps asking me about the P.O. Box. I'm going to go get a P.O. Box. Don't you worry. And when I do, I'm going to let you know. But I made it a priority. I put it on my calendar. I'm going to get out of the house, and I'm going to get a P.O. Box. I'm going to get a P.O. Box. Yeah, we weren't going to get Trey Benson. It was funny because Law on the stream on Bleacher Report, he wanted Trey Benson bad, and they bypassed him. And, they were laughing and at him because every player that he said he wanted Dallas to take, somebody would take him before Dallas got on the board. And then when Dallas would get on the board, they would take a guy that Law wasn't thinking about. So it was crazy. Afrocat 2136. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, identify. We finally know what a commander is, Lou. A dog. My comp for Newton was Duran. Mikey, pound for pound, best football player in the draft. Hashtag HTTR. It's funny. When you put identify with an exclamation point. And, it made me think about the OJs. Halt! Who goes there? Identify yourself, yeah. I know y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. Most of y'all know. But this is what they talked about. Identifying who are we haven't had an identity for as long as I can remember. We couldn't tell you what a commander looks like. We couldn't tell you what player fits our DNA profile. We're still figuring that out as fans because, again, we went through so much shit over the last 25 years. We don't know what a commander is supposed to look like. Slowly but surely, they can change that narrative. And it's drafts like these that have set the foundation for that. Spence Kalis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Can't wait to party in the DR. Let's get it, Lou. And I don't know if you guys know what Spence is talking about, but I'm glad you brought it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and I guess I'll go ahead and play that video. Some of y'all might be like, man, why you bring that shit up? Now you about to play that long ass video. Yeah, I'm about to play that long ass video. But it's as good a time as any to play this video. I'm looking forward to it too, man. I hope as many of you guys out there as you can, attend, because I'm looking forward to having some fun with you guys, meeting a lot of y'all for the first time, obviously, and having a blast. And this is something that I hope we can do every single year. We'll see how this first one goes, and then we'll see if this is something that we can do each and every single year, try to make it an annual thing. But again, for those of you who don't know what Spence is talking about, I made a major announcement last night on the draft, and this is what the major announcement looked like.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie Tee, with a major announcement. I promised you a major announcement, and I'm going to deliver right now. Before I do, I want to thank each and every single one of you for making this channel, this brand, what it has become Without you, none of this exists. The time, the energy, the effort, the resources you poured into the Louie Tee Network has brought us to this point, and I'm so happy about the progress that has been made, and I can't thank you guys enough. With that said, I've come so close many a times to doing something like this. Never any closer than 2020, and COVID hit, and then I went back to my comfortable abode in my comfort zone in the house. Well, now I'm coming outside. That's right. We're getting out of the house, and we're not just getting out of the house and doing anything. We're going on a trip, y'all. It's party time. Oh, it's party time. Yeah, we having a party, and you're invited. As we go to the Dominican Republic, Louie Tee Network Lifestyle presents the Dominican Republic edition. That's right. We're going to the DR, and you're invited. And so, yes, it's an extravagant trip. The first one out of the gate. I'm hoping to make this an annual thing, not to the Dominican Republic, but just a trip in general where we get to kick it, chill, and have some fun with one another. But we're going to start this thing off with the DR. And so what this is all about and what this entails, here's all of the details. The location, obviously Dominican Republic. We're specifically going to Punta Cana. It's a resort, Hard Rock Cafe in Punta Cana, all inclusive. So that means all your food, your drinks, everything on the resort, all paid for. Once you get there, put your wallet away. Let's have some fun, right? Dates, June 26th through the 30th. In 2025, so a year from now, right? Roughly 14 months or so. Registration is $295 per person. But if you get in on the early bird special, you'll save yourself $100. It's $195. Early bird registration is through May 31st, 2024. So essentially you have a month to get in on the early registration before it kicks up to $295. Now, keep this in mind. Registration is non-refundable. So before you invest a single penny, make sure this is what you want to do, because once you pay money, you can't get it back. Trip activities, we're going to get into some of everything, but the thing I'm looking forward to the most is the meet and greet and the convo with Louie Tee. Now, the convo with Louie Tee is a la carte. It is not included with the trip, but the meet and greet, the excursion, they got a ton of activities on the resort. Laser tag. Look, I'm a big kid. Laser tag, bowling. If you want the smoke on the lanes, let me know. All right. There's so many things we can get into, and I'm looking forward to doing that. But I'm most looking forward to meeting you guys. The meet and greet is what I can't wait to have happen. Travel. You can book your own travel, or you can go through our travel agent. She's awesome, and she'll take care of you and make sure that everything, like I said, is going to be top notch and first rate. Ground transportation, speaking of top notch and first rate, is included in the trip. So we're going to get you to and from the resort. You don't have to worry about any of that. We'll make sure that you're taken care of. And your room deposit is $100 per person. And again, much like the registration, it is non-refundable. So make sure this is what you want to do before you spend a single cent, right? Trip is only limited, though, to 50 spots. So, again, first come, first serve basis. The trip does not have to be paid in full until April of 2025. So, essentially, you have a calendar year to get all of your payments in and pay for the trip in full. So, that is the meat and potatoes of this trip. The link to register, all right, the link to registration is in the description of this video. I'll also drop that link in the comment section, and you guys can have at it. I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I'm really looking forward to meeting you guys. And I've been talking about getting out of the house and going outside. Well, I'm going outside. The question now is, will you be there?
So that was the invite that I extended to everyone. Let's go partying, man. Party in the Dominican Republic. Louie Tee Network Lifestyle presents the Dominican Republic edition. Hopefully you're able to join us as we go out and have ourselves a blast next June, from the 26th to the 30th. You'll hear so much more about it, and there are more details to come but I'm hoping that as many of you can come as possible. 50 spots available, as you heard in the video. So early bird gets the worm, early bird special. Save yourself on the registration fee. You have until May 31st to get that done and save yourself some bread there if you're planning on going. So yeah, Spence, can't wait to party in the DR. Looking forward to it, man. Let's get it. Rich O'Flair, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Rich. Thank you once again. Rico L, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Rico writes, AP knew he cooked tonight too, cheesing through the entire press conference. I can see the no top lip. No top lip cheese, boy. I can't wait to see that, because that's when you know he's like, yeah, I'm killing this shit. When he start cheesing like that, or you get the little laugh. I love AP, man. I love Chef P. I love it. You know, he cooking it up, man. Rich O'Flair, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Rich O'Flair writes, what's your favorite pick so far? And do you still think we have a chance to get Ayuk? I wouldn't rule anything out. I doubt that Ayuk is going to be something that they pursue, because if you were going to do that, San Francisco would have wanted the compensation now. Like, they're trying to win the Super Bowl right now. They're not looking to wait for next year to get compensation for Brandon Ayuk. So if they were going to move him, they want the compensation now so they can try to help build the roster to win. And clearly, if you're moving Ayuk, I still think he's going to end up a Steeler, but the further this draft goes on, the less likely I feel it is he gets moved, you know. But, you know, we'll see, right? Stranger things have happened. As far as my favorite pick, it's Johnny Newton. If you're talking about day two, it's Johnny Newton. Man, it's 1A, 1B with him and Mike Sandwich, because y'all know how I felt about Mikey, man. You go watch my video after the national championship game. I think I might have had to change my trousers once or twice talking about Mikey and how much I thought a baller, you know, how much of a baller I thought he was. So, but the one that kind of set the foundation for me was because I wanted to see if they was all talk and no substance, or if they was all substance without any of the fluff. And the perfect scenario presented itself right at the start of the second round. You about that life or what? I gave you the opportunity right here, right now, right here, right now, to prove all that shit you've been talking this offseason is legit. We gonna get good football players. We trying to get the best players we can get. We not drafting for straight need. If we see talent, we going after talent. Here's your opportunity. It couldn't have played itself out any better. We don't need defensive tackle, but that's the best player available. So what did they do? They drafted the defensive tackle. I love it. So between, you know, Johnny Newton and Mike Sandwich, those are my two favorite picks, 1A, 1B. But Johnny is my favorite, my top pick, because it set the tone for the rest of the evening, for the rest of the day. And to me, I'll take it a step further. It set the tone for what AP and Lance Newmark are all about. They with that one pick, they told me, bro, walk it like I talk it. 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 They ain't bullshitting. This is what we about, and I'm finna show you right now. I ain't gonna keep telling you. I'm about to show you right now. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Video channel writes, Phil Mathis, damn, you think he can still get a deal with the DC Defenders? Hey, don't do my guy Phil like that, man. Hey, he's still on the roster right now, man. He ain't going nowhere. Leave Phil alone. Leave Big Phil alone, man. So won't you raise your glass, won't you? Gene Ailman, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Gene writes, Lou, thanks for the coverage. Cornerback / running back in the 5th round, just straight dogs were drafted. Thank you for supporting the coverage and continuing to rock with the kid. Gene, I do think that, so they've already taken a corner, so I'm not sure if they're going to double down at corner or not because they took Mikey Samister. So he's a nickel. They could go boundary, but I think it's more likely that they go edge rusher. And one of the guys that they, if Austin Booker isn't there, if he's there, they're taking Austin Booker. If he's not there, but they set themselves up, and we talked about this, they're going to take the Baptiste John kid from Notre Dame, right? So I see edge rusher, I see linebacker Tyrese Knight, I see John Baptiste if Austin Booker isn't available, which I don't think he will be. Those are the kind of players that I see if we're going off of the visits. Those are the types of players. So I don't think it's position necessarily as much as it is guys that we feel comfortable with at the back end of the draft that we think are talented that can help us. So think less about position, more about who are some of the names of the guys that they, interviewed, that they brought in for visits that will be available towards the back end of the draft. For instance, I think this kid is undrafted that they'll have the guy, the cornerback from Western Carolina, Rod, whatever his name is, Gaddison, right? Not getting drafted, but that's one of the first guys they'll call up when the draft is over as a priority free agent. Like, that's what you got to start thinking about. Those types of players that you knew weren't going to be 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks, but could be available maybe in the 5th, but we don't have a 6th, in the 7th. That's what you should be looking at. Go back and refer to that, the list of players that they had on the official visit, and that'll kind of give you, that'll kind of give you an idea of what's going on here, right? Doje 3Ms, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, lineup, everybody's starting our front 7 has the most tackles plus sacks based off of last year's stats. If we can get turnovers at a high rate, defense will be scary. Look, they're building a bully slowly but surely, piece by piece, brick by brick. I told you this when they first got here and they first started assembling this defense. I said, if nothing else, I can assure you of this defense will be competitive. It's more than I could say about the defense any of the last 5 years, even in the years where we were like, man, this defense on paper looks pretty solid. I told y'all last year, I was more worried about the defense than the offensive line. Y'all laughed at me. The defense turned out to be a sieve, right? Coming off of a big season. Not one time did I ever believe in this defense. Not after 2020 when we played some of the worst quarterbacks in football and we built our rep off of that. Not after 2022 when we had a lot of gratuitous bounces and a lot of fortune come our way against teams with drop passes and missed opportunities. But it was less about what we did, more about what the other team didn't do. This year, we're going to force the issue. You're going to F up because we forced you to F up, not because you did it on your own volition. So, yeah, this what they're building right now with Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner and the Bama Wall and now Johnny Newton and Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler Jr. Yeah, this is a problem. This unit has a chance. At secondary, still got some questions. Love the addition of Mikey Samister, right? We need Emmanuel Forbes to look like a first-round pick. With the amount of talent that's in the NFC East at receiver, we need you don't think the Eagles, every time they see that young fella, they ain't going to look at him and say, oh, that's barbecue chicken over there. You know what we did to him last year. You don't think they're going to think that? We need him to get out of his head and start playing ball, because that's the only thing that can hold this defense back is if the secondary stinks. That front 7 is finna be ferocious. Ferocious. Frank McLaughlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Frankie, baby. Hey, appreciate you coming over and supporting on Bleacher Report, too. I don't know if you saw me, but I gave you one of these when I saw you was in the chat. Frank, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. And once again, really appreciate your generosity, man. Can't thank you enough. Can't thank my guy, Chris, enough for all that you guys continue to do in supporting the Louie Tee Network, man. So really do appreciate you guys. And thank you so much, Frank, for your generosity. He writes, hey, Louie, love the draft and the Bleacher Report show. It was a lot of fun. Tomorrow, I would love to pick up either Austin Booker, me too, Jalen Wright, me too, Greenfield, or Chris Jones. Great job the last few days. Aloha, Betty. Aloha. I'm going to tell you right now, we probably ain't going to come away with none of them dudes. Like, not having a 4th round pick, even though I'd much rather have the 2nd. I can't stress that enough. I'm so glad we got that extra 2nd. Not having a 4th is going to stop you from probably getting your hands on one of these dudes. That's what's ultimately going to happen. We'll see what they do in the 5th round with the 2 5th-rounders, though, and the 7th rounder, obviously. So these last couple of days have been fun. It's always fun. The draft is always fun. We always have a great time. And we have a great time because of people like you, right? You know, people that continue to support every single day, that comment, that, you know, add to the conversation and the discussion. I really, truly appreciate each and every single one of you that are out there in the comment section, having conversations with one another and continuing to further on, you know, the dialogue that's going on here on the Louie Tee Network, man. So shout out to my guy, Frankie, baby, and Chris McLaughlin, and all of the rest of you guys who have super chatted, all the rest of you who are in the comment section, all of you who have hit the like button, every single member of the mob. Y'all know what it is. Stand up. We in the building. Shout out to everybody, man. New subscribers, old subscribers, everybody that's a part of the Louie Tee Network, everybody that's part of the fam. Really, truly do appreciate all of you. Just Andre, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Just Andre writes, this D with Blitz, Luvu, and Mike off the edge. A lot of people don't think about Mikey Sandstrel as a blitzer, but he's nasty, man. He's so versatile. That's another reason why I think they selected him. Yeah, he's a ball hawk. Yeah, he takes it away, but this dude can blitz. And we know how much Dan Quinn loves to blitz nickel defenders. He just brings a lot to the table. He's a dog, man. He tackles, you know. Y'all know how I feel about Mikey. Yeah, I can't believe we got him. That's crazy, man. You know, it's certain guys that just they check off all the boxes for me, and I'm just like, man, it'd be nice. But you know, I'm again, I suffer from PTSD just like the rest of you, and so in my mind, I'm like, yeah, he's nice, but you know, I look at some of these players like, you know, the pretty chick at school, she'll never go out with me, right? I was looking at Mike Sandstrel, I'm like, he'll never, you know, be a pick of this team. Because that's not what the last group used to do, or the group before that, or the group before that. You know? It's going to be fun, Just Andre. Seeing how diabolical DQ and Joe Witt Jr. can get with this defense, with all the pieces they added. It's going to be real fun. A lot of fun. Zo Life, No Life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, I mean, it's BPA, but John Allen has 2 years left. It makes more sense than people think. Also, our O-line was not bad towards the end, even with Wiley. It wasn't. But it's hard to convince people that the offensive line is fine as is, or as was, right? And yes, Jonathan Allen has 2 years left, and it makes a lot more sense. But a lot of people don't think in context of 2-3 years out, right? We're not in a position to think about what this is going to look like in 2-3 years. A lot of people can't see past right now. You know, I was talking about this on Bleacher Report with Philly Mike, and I said, your team and my team are in 2 different processes. We're in 2 different stages of our development. Y'all are in win now mode. Y'all trying to win the Super Bowl right now. So Cooper DeJean makes more sense for you than he does for me because you need the quality, right? We need the quantity over here. We need the 2 picks in the middle of the second round, whereas they need the 1 pick towards the top of the second round because they need the quality. We could have taken Cooper DeJean ourselves, and he would have been a fantastic selection. But guess what? We took that opportunity to take Cooper DeJean and we flipped it into 2 selections, 2 guys that we think are going to help this football team immensely now and into the future, in Mike Sandwich and Ben Sinnott. And that's where we're at. We need more. The Eagles need less. Their roster is already set. They got guys in most of their positions already set, ready to go. They just need to add a couple pieces here or there. So the development looks different for them versus us. They can draft a guy like, for instance, 2 years ago, and I talked about this when they did it, and we talked about it tonight because a lot of people, kept asking who y'all gonna get to replace Kelsey, right? Jason Kelsey. And he's like, well, we already got the replacement. Cam Jurgens. They drafted him 2 years ago out of Nebraska. And I remember when they did it, and I said, damn, that must be nice. Drafting a guy, stashing him. They ultimately ended up playing him at guard last year, and he played really well. Now they're going to kick him over to center, his natural position, right? So John Allen, and I talked about this with the 49ers yesterday when I did my mock draft, really 2-3 days ago when I did my mock draft. I had them drafting Johnny Newton. Why? Yeah, they still have Javon Hargrave, and that's what a lot of people comp Johnny Newton to is Javon Hargrave. And they already got Javon Hargrave. But John Lynch, their general manager, said, we got some decisions a year or 2 down the road that, we got to plan for. So that's why I took Johnny Newton for them, because I'm thinking about the big picture. You thinking about the big picture. A lot of people don't think in those terms, especially when you have a roster like we do, where it's holes everywhere and you need to fill them and you need quality football players. But they're thinking about now and they're thinking into the future as well, right? So, yeah, makes a lot of sense. As far as the offensive line is concerned, it wasn't as bad, but it still wasn't great. Still wasn't great. Let me take this opportunity right now to say cheers, because this show is brought to you by the Cherry Squad. Shout out to all the Cherry Squad members and those of you who have held it down. So what the Cherry Squad is, for those of you who don't know, it's our Discord. Like, members of the mob took it upon themselves to start a Discord on behalf of me, your man, Louie Tee, that was based around this channel, but it's taken on a life of its own. And I'm telling you, if you're not a part of this Discord, you should be, because there are a lot of fun conversations that take place in there. But you get everything in one place. If you're subbed up to multiple Commanders channels, whether it's Rio or it's Rico or it's Tim or it's, whomever, right? Juan Gotti, it doesn't matter. All of those channels are linked to the Discord. So when anybody tweets, anybody uploads, anybody does anything, you're going to know. If the Washington Commanders account puts out a tweet or they put out a new video, you're going to know, because the Discord is connected to all of those things. Like, they keep me abreast of everything. I know when anything happens, anything drops. And that's all Cherry Squad. So when I thought about this after party, I thought about the Cherry Squad because they hold the kid down. And I didn't ask them to do that. They did this on their own, right? And I can't thank them enough. So shout out to the Cherry Squad, man. Salute to the Cherry Squad, man. Really do appreciate each and every single one of y'all, especially the OGs that, held it down and really made the Cherry Squad what it is and built that thing from scratch, from the ground up. Ayub Matan, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Respond to Bad Dog, LOL. Don't leave my guy on red. What are you talking about? What Bad Dog out here telling y'all, man? He out here he's spreading some salacious lies on me. What are y'all here talking about? Bad Dog out here trying to paint me as the bad guy. Let me find out, man. Shit out of luck. Is this who I think it is? Can't be. Couldn't be. Dum dum dum. Shit out of luck, right? Want to know what a wise man once told me? It is who I think it is. You know I can't answer that, man. You've been out of the game for 25,000 years and you think you just going to show up and ask me a standard basic question and I'm going to go, what? So you can get me? It's just good to have you back, man. I ain't seen you in a long time. I ain't heard from you. But you know, I'm going to tell you right now, you've had a profound impact because you got me on my toes, bro. You didn't have me on my toes for 2 years straight. Any comment that I'm not sure about, it's you. And you ain't been around for like a year, it feel like. But any comment that just seems a little off and vague, oh, you could be luck. Mission accomplished. I'll tell you that much. Mission accomplished. Gear Cell. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Gear Cell 1. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes. Great draft so far. Got some solid building blocks for the future. No more yoga pants draftees under Ron's plan. I was waiting for the yoga pants to be bust out. I didn't know who was going to be wearing them, if their butt was going to be out. You know, tragic. I was waiting for it. Hey, man. None of it has been tragic thus far, so you didn't have one for me. That's when you know shit's going well. When Gear Cell is like, nah, no yoga pants, no tragic. Everything's good right now. Feels good, feels good. 28 the Great, no debate. Love that name, right? 28 the Great, no debate. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, we got Daryl back in the building. Hopefully he can help the youngsters now that he is back. Lou, I wanted Cam at free safety because he's a true free safety, but J5, I don't know if he's a true free safety or not. I think you're giving him way more credit than he deserves. Because a true free safety has red line to red line speed, and that's not what Cam Curl had, right? But, you know, again, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. He's in LA with the Rams. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he goes out there and balls, but we've moved on in a different direction, and I'm not upset about it. So, see what happens with him. Doje 3Ms. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Doje writes, Lou, like you said about Eric, Ron and company ain't put Forbes in the best situations to succeed. DQ will have this secondary playing to its potential. Turnovers is a must with this front. Facts. Big facts. You know, this group is going to put guys in positions to succeed, unlike the last group. You know, DQ has always been a master of the sub package, something that Ron and Jack were foreign to. Like they had no concept of what a package was. Like there was no way you could get like Khalid Hudson on the field in any capacity. Like somebody has to be hurt for Khalid to play. Like you can't set aside a package with 7 plays in it and pick 3 or 4 of those plays in this game to get Khalid on the field in this particular package. That doesn't exist, right? In any capacity. No? Okay. Like they acted as if they couldn't take Chase Young and Montez Sweat and put them on the same side of the field. There was no package where, hey, we're going to get our best pass rushers on the field. No. Like everything was just like they were stuck in 1987. They were stuck in 1991. Like the game had evolved, but they didn't. This group is so advanced and that's why they brought all these different coaches on with different perspectives, because they want to keep things fresh. So if you don't think that they're going to come up with innovative ways to get guys on the field, innovative ways to get guys to the quarterback, innovative ways to create turnovers, you're sadly mistaken. Because that's exactly what they're going to do. Exactly what they're going to do. Sean Roberts, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Sean writes, you know what bothers me, Lou? LOL. What? Let me see. You taking them little ass sips of that wine. That's what you're supposed to do with the wine. You ain't supposed to guzzle it. It's just, you got to taste the wine, baby. You don't guzzle it. Right? When you drinking your alcoholic beverage, you don't just take it to the head, right? This ain't a 40 ounce. It's wine, baby. You take the little sip, you get your palate, all of the different flavors, and you just let it marinate, right? You just let those flavors kind of do their thing. Can't enjoy it if you just guzzle it. Stick with me, Sean. I'm going to show you a few things, man. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie Tee, here on this installment of the Command Post, or in this case, the Day 2 2024 NFL After Party, brought to you by the Cherry Squad. It's been a ton of fun. Looking forward to Day 3, seeing what they ultimately do to bring this draft to a close. The first of the Adam Peters, Lance Newmark, and Dan Quinn era. It's gotten off to a rousing start. 3 more picks left in the chamber, if you will, right? Looking forward to seeing what they do and what they decide to add and what positions they add and what players, they end up getting their hands on. I'm not even going to hold my breath for a guy like Austin Booker at this point. You either had to take him at 100 or you weren't going to get him. He's going to go in the 4th round. But if we somehow pulled that off, it'd be the greatest upset, that this franchise has had since we went to Dallas on a Monday night with Colt McCoy and beat the Dallas Cowboys, right? It'd be a pretty big upset. I don't see it happening. I'm not holding my breath because I don't want to be disappointed, so I'm not even going to think that way. It's going to be Tyrese Knight and John Baptiste from Notre Dame. That's what it's going to be. It's not going to be Austin Booker, but anyway. 28, the great, no debate. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Right. Oh, you were talking about Cameron Kitchen, not Cam Curl. Funny, they both Rams though, but he also lacks speed, but he can read and the ball skills. Yeah, wrong Cam. My bad. He is a little bit slow of foot. You're right about that. And you're right. They are both Los Angeles Rams, which is crazy. I think the Rams, if I'm not mistaken, had the pick before us. They had the 99th pick, and they took Cameron Kitchens out of Georgia, and we took obviously Luke McCaffrey. So anyway, I digress. So y'all get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will reconvene tomorrow after the draft has met its conclusion. I'll see you guys roughly 9 o'clock tomorrow night, and we'll break down the draft in its totality, talk about what we came away with and how we feel about the first ever draft of the new regime here in Washington under Josh Harris, obviously, as new ownership, and GM Adam Peters, assistant GM Lance Newmark, head coach Dan Quinn and company. So I'm excited about what's been done thus far. I'm excited to see what they do tomorrow to put a cap on this thing, and then we will assess the damage that has been done when it is complete. But until then, you guys Have a good one. Take care. God bless. Wait, you know what it is. Post up. Take command. Enjoy the rest of your evening. God bless. Good night.